So it's better to
Sure,
have a
sure.
face-to-face call.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So this is the three data sets that I provided you. So the
Mm.
first one is the pasture dieback.
This we
Mhm.
can maybe discuss at the end because this I have not gone
Okay.
through. I have not shared this. We can do it at the end.
So you want
We
to
can
start
first
with
do
pasture
the
one?
rat tail, the GRT,
All right.
pasture wheat. Yeah.
So we have got the reflectance bands. So these are the five different bands from the multispectral sensor.
Mm.
Each of those bands you can see with the trailing file name, the TIFF files.
Mm.
Along with the TIFF files, you have got the projection files and there's a
Mm.
TWF. So this both of these two goes together with the TIFF files. So
Mm.
what it does, it provides its the geospatial projections. You
Mm.
can directly read the TIFF file in also in MATLAB and other systems. But if you are making any changes to the dimensions of the image,
Mm.
or if you are cutting or cropping the image, then I have found it not doesn't always confirm back to these projections. But if you are using standard packages like something like QGIS or ArcGIS or something like that, then
Mm.
it should be okay. You can seamlessly edit there or do any processes there, and it will automatically use these background projections together with it. So these three files are a set of file. The date
Mm.
of acquisition is given in front, so it's appended in
Mm.
front. And there are, so similarly, you will see blue, green, and NIR and red edge.
Okay.
There's another red band. So in sequence, usually the sensor captures in wavelength sequence, we have got blue, green, red,
Mm.
then red edge, and then NIR. So when you are stacking the five bands together, they should
Uh,
be in that kind of order, sort of a blue, green, red, red edge, near infrared.
so what is red edge here?
So the red edge is your, let me show.
And when we opened this, if I'm not wrong, we got two different layers in QGIS. One was the composite red, green, blue, and then there were separate layers for red, green, blue.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know, that was something from our side we missed.
Let's go there. So the red wedge is basically this portion of wavelength. So you have blue, green, red edge, and
Mm.
infrared.
Okay.
So mainly that between 710 to 720, I think, and that's the part of spectrum that corresponds to that. Now I'm showing it from the Mica sense. These data sets were collected, I think, from DJI Phantom, my sensor. Um, so yeah, it may be coming from that one. I will confirm that back to you which sensor it was, but maybe
Sure.
either Mica Sense Red Edge or it was the Phantom 4. Now, there are two areas here. One is the Totten Hill, and another is the Totten Plains area. Basically, the difference, I don't have the maps for you to show at the moment, but if you load it in QGIS, let's see if I can. Maybe I will just put the NIR band. Take a while probably to load because
Hmm.
my files are currently not synced, so it will take some time. But I will describe how it is,
Mm.
probably in a graph. So we have this because it is uh, a pasture land in Australia. Typically, Australian pasture lands are quite hilly. So they send pastures in places where it is difficult to do broad acreage farming. So the farms are really flat and pastures are where the hilly areas are usually. So we had two areas. One was quite hilly. And then there was another portion which was like flat. So the flatter part, that's we call the normal plain area, and the hilly part, which was this portion, you can call it sort of this kind of portion, which had a lot of undulations, and that is we call the hill. Why we have them as separate data sets, but because the UAV flew at a constant height here. So our drone flights were, say, for here was like that, and here also was like that. So you will not have a lot of resolution variation in this part, but you will have quite a bit of a resolution variation in this part. That is not that significant, but probably you will get here probably 6 centimeters, where plus minus 1 or 1 centimeter. Here you will get 6 centimeters plus minus 3 or 4 centimeters. In spatial resolution variation in terms of ground. So that is something you might need to account. But for giant raptors grass, if you have seen those things in the images, they are they are not something that will drastically have problems in that kind of resolution variation. The only thing will be the crown of the giant raptor grass will be a bit smaller, and if you are doing some kind of object-based training or even texture-based training, there would be sufficient pixels within the field of the crown of giant raptor grass, so you will be able to collect that. So these are the different files. Now here also we have got Totten Hill, the 5 images. I'm saying this probably this reflectance group 1. So this is probably a redundant image. So when we stitch things in Pix4D, sometimes it doesn't put everything in it puts everything in, sometimes processes things by tiles. So this is like tile. So I think you don't have to use this underscore group 1. So I think by mistakenly I have put that here. So that could be ignored. So yeah, these are the 2 images of this area. Now, together with that, let's see what other things we have. So we have got the digital surface model and digital terrain model. So you understand the basic variations. If not, I will quickly clarify here. So for example, the terrain is basically this blue line DTM. And we have the digital surface model. So that will be coming from, say, I'll show the red color. So if we have, say, some giant turtle grass here with a bit of a foliage around here, so our DSM surface models will be taking all these small things, all small perturbations will go over it. So if we do DTM minus DSM, DSM minus DTM, so what will happen? You can get a layer which is called canopy height model, and sometimes people stack that together with the 5 reflectance bands because that can create quite a bit of a. So all the terrain effects will be removed with that. So this terrain effects will be removed, and it will create that kind of a topography only for the plant. So wherever there is plant. Yeah, so it is sometimes it can be used and it helps segregation. It doesn't have any texture information because it is taken from structure from motion, and by the nature of structure from motion at this scale of 6 centimeters plus minus, we wouldn't get smooth, really fine profile over the crown. So we will get a sort of a like a lob shaped or sort of a smoothened profile over the giant reptile grass, and everywhere else it will be bit low. So that's CHM. You can use it to your advantage if it is there. But one thing to note that the DSM, you will see the data will be bigger in size. The sizes, yeah, it is about 152 meters for the Totten Plain area, megabytes. And for the other one, the DTM, it will be a bit less. So this one will be only 700 5. The reason for this variation is because the resolution of digital terrain model is always 5 times lesser than digital surface model. So if you process it in geospatial packages, you will not be able to do the straight away subtraction like DSM minus DTM because the resolution is mismatched. So what we do, we convert the DTM to a higher resolution, match it with the same DSM. There's a technical procedure there. Um, uh, it's very simple to do. Just upscale, match the resolution of the DTM to the DSM's resolution of the grid, and then we do it. If you have issues there, let me know. I can do the DSM minus DTM at my end, and I can put that. And it should usually takes a minute or so to do it, so it should be easy. And that then you can get the canopy height model, and we can readily use it with the other reflectance files. Now, along with this, we have got. So no, this one we don't have any labels. The student did created a lot of labels, but this student was more from a computer science background. So the kind of labels he created was very different. He cropped the whole images into small regions and created small
the small
lots,
patches, the small patches,
small patches
we saw
of
in the
this.
paper here.
Yeah.
So now the question in this one is, we understood the background and what are the different files in there. So now the question is, or just to clarify this, our target would be to identify the GRT graphs, right?
Yes.
Right. And so if we don't have label, then how can we proceed? Like, because we'll need some labels and it will be a bit difficult. We can have a semi-supervised or self-supervised learning paradigm, but it might be quite difficult. And my suggestion would be if you can give us some label, even what the students had did, we can assume them to be a noisy labels.
Yeah. So what let's see if I can see. I can ask the student to send the labels that he has to, but the main problem will be the positioning of it, because I think when he has cropped it, he has used a sort of a kind of a dictionary file or indexing of where that image for the first corner, top left corner of that pixel is from. So that need to be somehow clustered back, but I will get back to him and see. But if you want to annotate, it's not very difficult to annotate yourself. I will show. So this one is currently only the infrared band. You can stack it in RGB composites as well with red, green, and blue and do that yourself. And wherever you see these kind of textures, so if it is visible here.
Yeah, the crater-like structure, right?
Yes. Like a small patches of grass. These are all the giant rectal grass.
Okay.
This is a very easy problem actually. That's why I give the data, because everything else is just normal pasture grass. And wherever you have got these kind of patterns, these are the giant rectal grass. And there's only basically two class, the whole image, mainly two class. So it's quite easy. You have here and there some other things like these sticks falling and logs and things are there from previous trees, which may be, but it is not that significant. So wherever we have got these kind of clusters, this kind of patches, so you can, if we are labeling it ourselves, what we usually do, we create shape files together with it. And I have another data set I will show you, and we sort of create some bounding boxes. And then when you're processing it in GIS based packages, then it is quite easy to handle it that way, label it. But it depends on the kind of workflow.
So maybe we can give it a try, and what we will do is we'll share our annotation with you, so just you can verify whether it is correct or not, or how accurate it is. Because my idea was to develop supervised learning algorithms in the beginning itself. So the accuracy of that will depend on the annotation, how good the annotation is. So we will share that with you. You can have a quick look and check if there is any mismatch. And the other thing is, that means in this particular case, we also don't have the training test split, right? We don't have, this is the raw data that we have. We don't have the training, means we have not divided the image or patches into train data, test data, split data, right?
So one point, the first question that you have about the annotation part. So if you're annotating yourself, so you will see two main characteristics. One is when giant turtle grasses are in patches. So that is quite easy to label. You can label this whole sort of a region. And another is when giant turtle grass is sort of a sort of isolated unit, there is other class of normal pasture around it. So that provides a different kind of a unique structure. What we have found based on how your supervised algorithm works, it works quite well either in this situation or in this situation. Because the texture variation between the surrounding area from giant turtle grass to the other class is where it gets problematic. So if your algorithm works quite well here, it suffers here. And if it works here in that class, so that is something you can partition it. You can, when doing the labeling, you can also have that kind of grouped giant turtle grass and isolated giant turtle grass as a training, and that may be of help. The second thing you asked was about training data sets and test data set split. So what we do, and this is mostly all the UAV people do it this way, they would create say that all the data training, so say 2000 polygons or say 1000 polygons from here they create, and I'm not going into the individual size of the polygons, it just said to 1000 polygons for simplicity. And what they will do when they have trained them, they will first keep 20% of the data aside of those training polygons as a dedicated validation set. And the rest of the data they treat as of that 80% of the data, they would do either say 60% as training and 20% as a recurring sort of a chain cross validation split. And that's how they do. So they all provide cross validation at each iteration, say 5-fold cross validation, and then a dedicated validation on the 20% data set. So the benefit of that is that kind of way is when you are splitting the data, we are not spatially splitting it, because if I say split this whole region into half, then the training is happening on the left side and testing is happening on the right side. That may not be a good developed model, you know. So we divide it that way. And you can also spatially, I have seen not that much, but sometimes people show with the annotation what areas are dedicated validation sets, what are the training sets, and like that. So this is how people have been doing.
Sure, sure. So that means we will do a random split of this, and
Yes.
for both the sites, we have two sites. For both the sites, we will combine them together and do the random split for training, test,
Sure.
validation, and with a cross-fold thing.
I will open the one from that one. The Totten Hill, I think, is quite big. Let me see that. So this is the. Oh no, I opened the hill part. So plain part is easy. I'll show you the plain. Thinking. Yeah. So if you look at the size of the data set, you will see the plain is quite small, and it's interesting. The actual space, the region of the plane is quite small in size, but it is higher in data dimension for some reason. I think it is because we have flown much closer to the ground. I can tell you exactly how close to the ground it was. I can send you that. And the other one, the hill part, because it was a vast area, we had to fly a bit higher. So this one maybe at 120 meters, 110 meters, and the plain area was probably covered at 60 meters or so. So there will be some variation because of that in terms of pixel sizes. So if you club these two together, they may be it is good as a model develops. It develops both for different height, elevation. So it is good, but it may be a bit tricky because it will take a bit more training there. So it may be having that kind of problem. Yeah. From my memory, if let's open the digital terrain model. As I'm looking, okay, yeah, we have both. Because another one is loading, so I have to wait.
Mm.
Um,
That
anyways,
is another question here. So it's kind of we were able to open the files in QGIS, load it, and maybe even we'll see how the annotation works and proceed with that. Now the next step is uh, how do we convert this to kind of less memory intensive, or can we, for example, do we need to take the entire tile, or can we convert this into smaller images, patches, and then
yeah.
assign the labels to those patches and perform develop the deep learning model? Because the size of this
Hmm.
is very huge, the
Yes,
entire
true.
area, right? So what
Yes,
is the
yes,
standard
true.
process that you would suggest?
Hmm. So let's see if I can explain again there may be several ways to do it. I'll quickly. Oops. Looks like my computer is it's getting
With the Teams and
because
QGIS, yeah.
yeah, because today my workstation is not working because I usually log into my remote workstation, which is a bit more beefy compared to this one. But anyways, S- so in my big workstation, I have like 200 something GB of RAM. So I don't get much problem. I load the whole image into Python and it opens up as one large NumPy array. I can also stack it as all the different bands into a multi-dimensional matrix, and that works. But say if you are splitting, if you cannot do for the whole image, the strategies that might be useful is, say, first you can do some kind of annotations and say when you are annotating, you can have a maximum of, say, 1000 pixels by 1000 pixels or 640 by 640 pixels, say something like that. So it could be, say, these regions, and you can select those regions which are going to be distributed all across the scene. And from these 640 by 640 pixels or whatever, it need to be probably a bit bigger because the resolution is like that. And within that, say you will have, if we zoom in one of this, you might have this area is a giant rattle grass, and the other area is a side, say these are some non-GRT. So maybe it has to be done that way, that kind of way. And then these chunks can be put into the model training and validation directly. Because what you can do when training the model, you can mark the coordinate of the first top left and pixel in reference to this original image, and that helps getting it back when you are wanting to get the overall position. Or if you are cropping it in a geospatial package, then it will be very simple. So you can, for example, export it. You can make spatial windows here uh, on this image, you can create vectors, polygons, rectangular polygons of some or square polygons of, and export the TIFF files. And you can say export it in 6 or 10 tiles from here, and that will be easy to work with.
Okay.
If you want to work on the whole data set, the other strategies people do is do tile-based processing. So there are some packages already available on GitHub that do tile by tile processing. So what they do tile by tile is basically divide this whole image into kind of a tiles like that. Oops.
Non-overlapping patches, tiles, something like this. Yeah.
Yes,
Continuous,
yes,
continuous.
yes. Yeah, and continuous and overlap with little bit of a padding between the tiles. And the padding size usually is slightly a bit higher than the crown diameter of the GRT class. So which is probably 30 or 40 pixels, and that should be sufficient. And then we create the kind of a dictionary for that. So that's another approach that can be used if you have a limited workstation. But what I have found, it takes more time to do that. That environment to set up gets the pre steps are a bit more tedious than actually model training and validation, because model training validation we usually get already available packages and we can run these sort of things. It takes a bit more time to do.
Anyway, I will have a look. I will see which one is better, whether we should go to a bigger Smith machine or a split in tiles. So that's okay.
Yeah.
We will have a look on that in a moment. Another point
Yeah.
is like, I think we will proceed with the what your student or what the paper that you has shared. We won't go with the segmentation as such. We'll go with small patches of GRT. So it won't be because segmentation that creates another challenge, and I hope if I understood correctly, we don't need that much accuracy, that much accurate detection of GRT grasses, right? Only
No.
only a rough outline of these are the areas covered with the grass. So
Yeah, that's true.
we'll go with small patches that and a kind of a simple classification problem of classifying those patches as GRT and non-GRT, a binary classification.
Yes, that is so if you, for example, detecting this giant turtle grass unit, and if your classification overflows a little, that is fine and that is expected, because the idea is then we can send the drone exactly at this location and get sprayed. One point I do mention, if you are splitting the data set like the way that I'm saying, or tiling it, we need to find a strategy to again apply that model across the whole. Maybe in not that machine, maybe in a different machine we can do, but once it is built, we can, because that always becomes the bottleneck later on. Even that student he had some struggle putting the model, combine and deploy the model. So the model deployment across the whole scale is a bit, even if we could deploy it as a tile, for example, even on those tiles, if we could deploy, then it's possible to stitch them again together. And I can do that in a bit bigger computer. But that is something that becomes a bit more tricky.
Understood. So like the final results of detection of GRT should be on the original tile that is there in QGIS. So
Because once we are publishing the papers, the classical remote sensing scientists, they not always understand the limitation. So they're like, where is your final map? So if we don't show them the final map, sometimes they are like, oh, it doesn't work. What is the benefit of all that doesn't? So they have this. So this is the digital terrain model. You can see here. This one is here, for example, high hilly area. And this one is the low lying area.
Lower side.
Yeah. And yeah, for some reason this looks a bit bigger. I do not know. From my memory, I thought the hill area was bigger, but it looks like the plain area is bigger. So yeah.
Spatially, we'll check. We'll check. Not on Now the next question is, so we have the 5 bands and also the DSM and DEM. So in your opinion, shall we go with all the bands, or we start only with few bands and then, or maybe study the effect of, because when I visualize the image, I think the DSM and DEM probably is not that useful, at least if we say that we are only detecting the grass, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, true. DSM and DTM is not very useful, but that if you use all the bands, the benefit is you can do something kind of a variable importance. So students can play with that, and those are some kind of results that you can show it in the papers. So I think DTM and DSM are not going to be useful, but if you subtract the DSM and DTM, that CHM would be useful. I can. Now it will be tricky to do it, but I can do the subtraction and can put the CHM. So when you have the CHM, you will see all these points of the giant rectal grass, because giant rectal grasses are quite big.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
they go up about at least from 30 centimeters to a meter high from the normal.
Okay.
So because of that nature, it sort of looks quite lock shaped. The problem is with CHM is going to be in these areas where there is lots of gyratory gas. So there it will have problems. But yeah, it can be explored if CHM gives some variable importance. Now, in how to deal with the dimensionality, because you can still put only 3 bands if the in some model architecture, you can potentially select the 3 significant bands from
Hmm.
those ones, or we can do is something like PCA or something similar. PCA, ICA would be too ancient, but if we
Hmm.
have some recent kind of
The
dimension reduction
dimensional
tools,
projection. Hmm.
then that will be more interesting to employ. Yeah. It also will be a bit more something noveler side as students can
We
try.
can, what I was thinking is we can look into more of a data fusion approach, and instead of
Mm.
reducing the dimensionality, we can let the model itself decide. So kind of an end-to-end deep learning approach we
Mhm.
can use rather than, is what I was thinking, but definitely we can explore the PCA or other dimensional reduction
Yeah, if
technique also.
if if those things is possible, we can do data fusion definitely,
Hmm.
because um, in although they are not coming from two different data sensors, but
Hmm.
they are of different nature. One is surface kind, another is completely reflectance product. So you can fuse those things together. Yeah.
Okay. Another question, by seeing this images, I got one question and I recall there was one more issue. Is if we are doing the annotation, so for the individual GRT, it's pretty straightforward to have the patches. But when it is in group, so shall we take the entire region as one group or again make multiple groups? What would you suggest for the labels?
Uh, yes, so that really depends on how your algorithm works. If I am using classical geospatial packages for processing, they can handle variable size of annotation inputs.
Yes, yes.
So if that happens, we can have like one large region here, and that can be annotation, and as well as have small annotation, and both of them can be put together. Now, some packages, particularly from GitHubs, they do not handle a variable
Hmm.
in size input. So that way, then you can have a sort of a sister script running whenever the annotation is bigger that partitions the data into the one of the smallest size, or does some kind of size adjustment to make. But I think size adjustment is not better. It's better to just split the data into smaller tiles. That would be like say annotation to smaller tiles. But when we are training large area sections, we have to be a bit careful about not inadvertently annotating regions where there's no GRT, for example, in this case, but and just select something like here. So that gap could be avoided wherever the data set is there.
Hmm. No, it's okay. We have tools of
Mhm.
annotating multiple means. We need not
Mhm.
stick to one patch size. We can take the bigger patch and this, and we will be careful in avoiding that non-GRT
Mhm.
patches.
Gaps, yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think, yeah, that's it for
the
this
GRT,
one. In the GRT, if I have anything, I will text you and
sure.
we can set up a call sometime
Yeah.
later. Now
So do you
for
want
the
to,
urban
yeah?
parkland, yeah.
Again, they are same, and for some reason the group one is still there. So please, this time I will probably open the which one? I think green band I will open. This is really big area that we scanned,
Hmm.
but we flew a bit higher because of that. Um because of that the resolution is not that high. Uh, For some reason, the group TIFF is quite big in size. Okay, I get. I think this is not resample, so this is the raw resolution. So probably that it is bit higher. Maybe I'll have to look why the group 1 is bit high in size. Uh,
So it has
and
the
we
same, it's from the same sensors and it has the
yes,
same red, green, blue, near red
yep,
and infrared NIR, right?
yes, yes. So the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 bands.
Mm.
From I'm quite sure this is from the um, DJI Phantom 4 Pro. That is the sensor. We have the DSM here. DTM we haven't generated from this one, but I haven't put here, but I can put the DTM here as well. That may be of use or maybe not. Let's see. And for this site we also have the labels. So the student did label some things, so I'll show you. Is struggling at the moment.
And one more thing, like for the previous one, we will work for the moment using the 5 bands only. Means the RGB, near red, and NIR. And maybe later we can work on the CHM if you can share that because it requires some processing. So
I can
maybe
do
we
that.
can
I'll put
uh,
it today. No worries here.
we can include
Mhm.
that. And my first line of thought would be let's use a data fusion approach. And
Mhm.
one experiment would be like for development of the model, and second would be the model itself telling us the importance or the significance of each band for detection of these patches.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I think that kind of strategies we haven't yet used on this kind of data set, so that will be quite different as well. So,
Yes.
uh, all right. So this is the other data set, and I will load the labels on top of it.
So this one is also a weed detection, a different species, I suppose.
Yes, the reason I gave you the weeds one because it is bit better, easier when working between two countries because the labels you can easily generate. If some of them are not working, it is quite easy. There are other works where you like retrieval kind of works, so that's where extensive ground truthing is needed. But here you can generate the ground truth quite easily.
Mhm.
I'll go to the attribute table. So we have got mainly 4 weeds, I think here. One is lantana, and then it's a tree pair,
Mm.
and there's an open area and like vegetation area. So mainly 2 weeds, lantana and tree pair. So these are the 2 main areas, and I'll show you because this is not composite image. It's going to be a bit tricky to interpret. So apologies, but I cannot.
Yeah,
Once
I
you
get you.
combine the thing into RGB, it will become a bit more sense. And if you what's that? So for example, if you click on anyone, you can
Mm.
see which one is lantana. So this class is lantana. So if I turn this thing off and look at this region,
Mhm.
sorry. So you can see here, it's sort of a
This is
like a yeah, it is currently looking like a gray
mm.
continuous mesh. but it's a sort of very deep green sort of a mesh kind of area here. And similarly, so these are all lantanas around. This is all lantanas around. So we have randomly annotated all the lantanas, tree pairs. And I'll show you how lantana looks. That will be making sense. So they grow like this. So a continuous shrub weed. Um, we have collected the images when they are not in flowering. So you will get just green. There will be almost no color. This is they are mainly thickets of green, and it's a really big invasive weed here. It also grows in India. I do not know what name it is called, but they have this small flowers like that. So that is how the lantana work. And managing is very hard because it has got thorns in the stem part. So yeah, so those you can see people are trying to cut lantanas here in their field, but they are acres and acres of lantanas, so we can't do much. Here and the another is tree pear. So tree pear weed is like that. It's a cactus. This is a good example, like this one. And to give you a reference, this can be like a 1-story or 2-story high, these cactuses. So they are not small cactuses, they are really, really large cactuses with large crown. And you can really well spot them from the image. There will be, let's see if I can find some. This is vegetation medium. You can also display the annotation with some color symbology. So this is, for example, tree pear weed. Yeah, let's turn it off. It's not well visible in this image, but you will see wherever those, once you combine the composites and then overlay the labels on top of it, you will find like dry branchy areas. So those are, and there will be there will be a little bit of other classes that will confuse you, and those are the tall eucalyptus trees, and they which are completely defoliated, so they are dry trees. A lot of them are here around that area, but we have, so for example, this one. So these ones, for example, so these are not lantanas. These are not tree pair. This is the eucalyptus branches, which are the trees that have died from bushfire previously. So yeah, so these, you can avoid these sort of things quite easily. But yes, once you composite it and overlay it, if you struggle anywhere, if you have a difficulty identifying, if you want to increase the labels more, let me know, and I can help the students more. We will also be perhaps collecting another round of images, some acquisition in this area, because the council has put something like a millibug to infect this. So they are doing a good ecological study in this space, and this millibug sort of puts their insect, the future generation, the seeds into it, and that bug then eats the lantana, the prickly pear. The thing is very selective food source, only cactuses, so it doesn't infect anything else in theory. But they have just inoculated it in say 9 months back. We have taken up image during that time, so that is what you have got, and we will be doing another round of it after another say 3-4 months or 5 months. We'll do again to study the decline of the population, because those things will disappear. So once we have a good mechanism of classifying, identifying the tree pair, we can have time series of these two regions, and that would help to track the decline of those population. And the tree pear is really very tricky weed species here, so that is also of a big significance. Yeah. So these are the main two data sets. Do you have any questions up till now
Yeah,
for
for
this one?
this one, so do we have for this one we do have the labels for all the four classes. So do you think like I need to see the statistics, how many labels are there? But do you think that we also need to, if we have missed something, we should do the labels and add to those files, or we can continue with these labels itself?
I think you should be able to continue with these labels for now. But in some cases, if you think that it is not giving you more accuracy based on the kind of models that you are using, you can have more labels. We have annotated them based on the class name and class value. So they are like 1, 2, 3, 4. So as per that sort of a label, so you can use either numericals or text kind of strings for training. So both can be used here. So this is usually how we do. And each of the polygons are quite big. You can do a sort of a, I'm not sure if the QGIS can do it. Let's see. So we can, no, it's not possible here to display, but you can do a histogram plot to say the
I think it's
distribution.
okay. We will see, and it's okay. We'll start with this in case if we are running short of labels or the data, I'll let you know.
Sure.
That is fine. And in this case also, I think we will go with the 5 bands at the beginning. The DSM value probably won't be that useful, I suppose. And again, the train test split for this one is there, or shall we take the random split as the previous case?
I think random split would be better. Yeah, because as more spatially distributed the training samples are, that is better. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Good enough. We have only one site for this, right?
Yes, we have only one side because this particular enscrapment has had these two weeds together. So there are other areas where we have one weed or the other weed. So that is yeah, this site had both the weeds. So we sort of gives more bang. But if you want other sites, we can also capture. There will be more students here. They will be capturing data. So we can ask them to collect data. Yes, they from there as well. Yeah.
Now the problem from the computer vision point of view, these are the polygons that you have annotated, right? So in that case, it's more like a segmentation task, not a classification, correct?
True. Yes, yes. So both mainly if we look at it from computer vision point of view, everything is like a kind of semantic segmentation only. And we do employ classification that we handle by tiling the images in very small cells and then joining. So it does something like semantic segmentation.
Yeah, in the geospatial or the remote sensing,
Yes.
the segmentation and classification is kind of, we are
The same
taking a
thing, yeah.
bigger same
Yeah.
area, and we're taking a bigger area and then
Yes.
dividing in patches and classifying. So it's, yeah, understood.
Yeah.
So I think that's it.
There are other problems where pure classification would be of importance. I don't have that data set. Particularly, it was somewhere I was working. If we are trying to do stages of phenological flowering, that is something classification is very good. For example, when we have got, say, a particular flower, which is like safflower here, and it starts off as a green. Then it changes to yellow, then it changes to beige, red, and these sort of stages. So that is a very good classification problem, but it's a huge data set. It's like because we have got data from a RGB sensor, high resolution RGB, and it is like a millimeter, 1 millimeter resolution. So, or even sometimes 1 or 2 millimeters, even less than a millimeter. And that is like one tile, which is 400 meters by 400 meters, is like 30 gigabytes. So like one tile. So this is like about 300 MB for one band and 1 GB, say for 3 RGB. That one is just RGB is that much, yes.
I think it's good for me. Girish, my colleague Girish, and I forgot to introduce. He is
Hi,
my
Girish.
colleague here. He also joined a bit late, but he was there. So Girish, do you have any questions for these two data sets from your side?
No, sir. Like whatever you have asked, the same questions even I was having, especially regarding how to proceed with the images, since the image size is very big. So the interaction with our students, like we realized this was one issue, how to process it, because opening it is very challenging in on our, at least on our system. So that was the main query. And I think Sir Ujjwal sir has asked all the questions. I don't have any issues as of now.
Thanks, Girish. Thank you.
Thanks. So I think we can move to the last one, the third one also. We can have a discussion. And
Sure.
although I have not gone through it, to be fair, I have not gone through the data set,
No
this
worries.
one.
So this
But
is
we
the
can-
one that we have recently started looking, pasture dieback. It's sort of a very unique problem. And maybe I will first give a bit of a.
Mm.
So pasture dieback is an issue that is still not scientifically completely understood why it is happening. So this is a mystery killer, people are calling. We do not know what is causing. So suddenly we have the lush green grass and patch of grass starts dying for no reason.
There
And
is no weed infestation,
there is
nothing.
nothing there. People are trying to identify viruses or anything under the soil. They're not seeing too many things. Some people are seeing some kind of nodules. They're calling it ground pearls. The exact biological reason is currently under investigation. But you see, this is probably after a year, you are seeing something like that. In another year or 2 year, the problem is this whole green part is going to completely die.
Oh.
It is very infectious. If it is a disease, it is infectious, but we do not know what is causing. So right after it dies, then we see emergence of weeds. Just right after it dies, because there's no grass, there's no competition from grass anymore. So the other secondary weeds starts coming, and that becomes very difficult to manage. Now we don't have a solution how to regulate it at the moment, but what we are trying to do is find mechanisms where we can detect pasture weeds like symptoms like this early on in field, because say this is a small patch. If we can detect it early on, then we might be able to put some safeguards in place, maybe barricade this with some kind of pesticides or something, or we can kill the whole host which has died so that infection doesn't spread. So some kind of a strong herbicide, broad spectrum herbicides can be used the whole of this area. So it basically like cutting that part of the tissue so that it doesn't infect further. So this is the main thing. Now we have got two kind of data sources. One is the drone data, and we have also collected the ComSat data from this one. So there are two missions. Yeah, again, the same data structure, reflectance, DT and DSM, they're coming from the same sensors. Maybe I will not open it. I will maybe show it from here because it will just hang. So this is one of the data, and you can I will forward you the paper where we have worked, and that highlights the area. And I will also try to locate some of the labels, because that student did some labeling to where the infection was happening. You will see that when you make the color composite, that will appear like a very dry grass. It will be very relevant, evident that that's a very dry patch. I can't see it here. Let's see if I can see it in red edge or something. No, well, I think just with one band is not possible to see. This one probably have to be merged. That is. So no, I can't see it here. Yeah, I will merge. We have to merge it and then we have to start seeing. But there are few spots where we have got, and we have also got. I think the student collected ratings for individual points because we went for surveying. We have taken some ground images of the weeds, and we have provided ranking to what percentage of dieback is happening at certain location. So this could be used as a not just as a classification exercise, more sort of training retrieval kind of exercise in remote sensing terms, and that could be so a score can be attributed towards all points, and that could be helpful. Another thing is so we have two location, mission 1 and mission 2.
So just to come back to this scoring and retrieval point, what exactly would be how would, like, can you tell us what would be the steps from the computer vision point of view? So do we have a reference image and we want to align the patches or locate the similar patches and rank them, how similar they are, something on those lines? Or
Yeah. So this is the whole area. I'll say the mission 1. If you open the mission 1 first, this is the whole area. The mission 2 that we did is just on this part.
Okay.
Just this part. And if you see here on the bottom left-hand side of this whole image here, this point, there's a bit of a weed. This small patch is a weed here.
Okay.
And around that, there's a circle. You will find that is the most prominent part of the pasture dieback that has had that is there. When we went there, then last year in September, only it was restricted here, that infestation. We surveyed this area probably in March or something, February or March or January. When we went there in January, in 4 months' time, this whole area almost is there, pasture dieback.
Okay.
And it is like it's big acreage farms. The farmer had to sell off their land, we found. So it's very sad, but he can't do anything. He tried to save it, but he can't save. So from a computer vision, if we can do some kind of rating to each pixel, what percentage of it is like infested for something like say NDVI. Now NDVI is like 0 to 1 scale of scoring, of 1 being the most greenest and 0 is like least greenest or something like that. But greenness can be result of many things. Even like trees can be a source of greenness, high greenness. We need to avoid all those areas, and any source of greenness variation that is coming from other things that we probably have to avoid, like if there are weeds and other things, somehow we have to avoid them. And only the dieback is something that can be studied. That will be good. I have sent you the paper. That will be a good start, like a point of reference to know more about this. This is a bit tricky problem, not just because understanding the problem would give more insights into the what can computer vision be used, how it can be used here. But ComSat data we have captured. The reason being the nature of this problem is we cannot just use drone data for this problem. This problem is happening everywhere. And we wanted to see if we can see symptoms of pasture dieback on large scale, on large areas. So if we are able to generate something that can quickly screen large areas of the images. So this is a high resolution ComSat image, which is, I think, few centimeters in resolution, or maybe half a meter something in resolution. It has got 4 bands as well, multispectral. So if you extract it and display it, you can build some models from there as well. And if we can showcase that on the ComSat data effectively, then that generates good opportunities for the GI remote sensing GIS, particularly here. That is something we can sell as a service to other farmers. They will be interested to subscribe, but yet we haven't seen we haven't done sufficient yet to promise something like this.
So if I understood correctly, if using drone data as a reference, if we can identify the patch in the ComSat data, or even not exactly identify, give a likelihood of how likely this is to be a pasture dieback, then that's a
Yes.
problem standpoint, right? So
Yeah.
now my question would be, in the drone data, we do have the labels, we have the labels for this, right? But do we have something like that for the ComSat data just for the evaluation, whether, or how do
I
we
think
validate it?
it is there. So there is a lot of things. Let me quickly check. So this is how the site looks like. And so the areas of those pasture dieback, you can see here a bit of a brownish area. He has created a sort of a mask here. So that sort of diminishes the greenness a little bit. And the area that I was showing you was here. That's the big pasture dieback. And this is healthy grass, stressed grass, and pasture dieback grass. We have also taken handled spectroradiometer readings, and we have the locations of those ones. So if you want that, we can provide. The student has only displayed this. He has actually not used spectroradiometers in any ways. So that still can be investigated from remote sensing. We have generated a lot of vegetation indices from that. And this is the pipeline that he has used. Now, what he's doing here is basically studying the spectral variations and what is the range of variations when it happens. So he has from UAV. This is also from UAV, and this is from Sentinel. Okay, and this is how he has done sort of a classification. So these red areas are the pasture dieback areas, and one is healthy grass. And so this is taken from the drone. This one, yeah, this is the comparison between the drone and Sentinel-2.
Okay.
But this is Sentinel-2, and potentially it can be used, but he hasn't done the ComSat. So we didn't have ComSat then. So this is just 2. Also, the date of ComSat is slightly different to this acquisition. For this period, we didn't get. So that is something we might have to use some different labels for the ComSat. So that is going to be but what we were able to see, it is potentially we can use something like Sentinel data as well to something like this. And we can generate models for Sentinel. But this is very like basic model MLP classification. We can use much better classifications. And this is how the for first reported incidence of dead pasture, and you can see it is increasing. We also see some sort of a recovery, but it doesn't come back to the same levels as the previous decades. And then there are other ambient analysis we have done. Yeah. So yeah, it's sort of, we have investigated the satellite, but not too much. We can potentially use the remote drone data and use that as a sort of input for satellite one, the ComSat one, but for the ComSat one, because the dates are a bit different, and because the nature of the patchy diabetic is quite dynamic, we might have to retrain. Sorry, I have more a separate set of classification for ComSat. Yeah. But ComSat data we haven't touched. We collected the data, paid for it, but we never touched it. So that's another
Okay.
which is open for to be used. Yes.
Interpretation, yeah.
Yeah.
I have not seen this. Have you shared this document with me? I think yes,
Um,
yeah, it's there. I think it's there. Let me check.
I might have converted it into a paper, and that might be.
I think it is there. Let me just check. Yeah, it is there. It is.
Is there? Yeah.
It's a perfect. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
I've not gone through it, but it's because
Yeah.
I was focusing on the first one. So
Yeah, so that would give a sort of a good overview about what has been done, what hasn't been not done, and like we can build on that for the publication pipeline. I actually have another paper that I need to send you, so I will send you that one later. Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think
Andrew?
it's good enough. We had a long meeting, long discussion.
That's okay. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Always interested for research and yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
No, for me
It's
also, it's a different problem statement and kind of more relevant. And since the USP is the data is unique and
mm,
kind of more localized for local issues, so it's much more
mhm.
relevant rather than competing with big groups for
Yeah.
benchmarking. So it's interesting. It's interesting to
Yeah,
work on
one
this.
good thing with UAV data sets is you are not competing with anyone, so that is
Yeah.
easier. So reviewers are not going to come back saying like, "Oh, we have achieved 93%. This person, you have received 90%." Sometimes I see that 2 or 3% improvement. Is it really useful? But maybe useful somewhere. So.
No, it's there is a discussion on especially on the deep learning algorithms about the explainability. I hope you
Mm,
might have heard about it, and it's very kind of there are not many work even in computer vision, machine learning, and if you come to remote sensing, Earth observation, there is practically zero. So the accuracy that we are giving, can it really translate to say that, okay, I will have a 99% accuracy? That's not true. That's not true.
we have touched into this explainability side of thing in a from a different angle. Um,
Mm,
3 4 years back, we were trying to have develop some strategies of developing automated vegetation indices,
mm,
and when we are calling it vegetation indices, but if you look at the formulation, they are basically mathematical models, right? They're
mm, mm,
equations. And we developed some mathematical models with machine learning algorithm. And those things are available online. I will send
mm,
you the link to that paper.
mm,
We published 2 papers. One is a brute force method of vegetation index creation. Another one was using tree Parjan estimator. We used like millions of calculations. Indices were developed and they were validated, and then we selected one. Interestingly, we found as a 5-band, whenever we tested it, we found that we could build 4-band, 5-band models, even high number of band models, which will take a lot of time to make, but we can make it quicker because we are doing computationally.
mm,
And the accuracies of these 4-band model, and we are working on hyperspectral data
mm.
and selecting features and then giving weightage and putting them in from mathematical equation forms like an index.
Mm.
And we are amazed. Some of these equations are giving accuracies, regressions in regression terms almost comparable, or even sometimes more than ANN, CNNs, and those sort of things.
Oh, really?
Really. So this is an open thing. Since then, my technical brain says if these equations they are explainable.
Yes, yes.
See, if it is an equation form, nothing can be more explainable than that, right?
Yes, yes.
It is whole transparent. If we, that is a problem I wanted to work more on, never get time. If you are interested, I will share the original paper on that one. That one is done on a different kind of data set, which is taken from glasshouse images, which I was telling you during that. We have that, but I have used with one group of people from India. They have used that on mangrove data set. The same model they have used on mangroves, and we developed indexes to detect mangroves, defoliation of mangroves, and it worked really well. But they haven't published it yet. The student is waiting on it for 2-3 years now, but then got busy probably somewhere. But recently, I saw the chatter that so she's interested again to publish. So let's see what happens. But on remote sensing data, anything of retrieval nature, we can use this algorithm and we can develop some equations. And I have got some more ideas where we can even modify the original algorithm that we have, and we can make something really, really transparent, completely open. We can make. So if you are interested, we can work together on something like that as well.
Yes, yes, definitely. In fact, I also had a few ideas regarding explainability, especially for the Earth observation. And we had a small paper, a discussion paper, rather in IGAS, on how we can make the metrics more explainable, because it's not the especially in the Earth observation or remote sensing community, the data that the results or the analysis that we are doing is being passed on to the decision maker, the government agencies, and most people there, they don't understand how this is interpreted. If you go back to the classical equation based or the classical machine learning, we can say how much this index has an influence on the result, but that's not true for any deep learning algorithm. If we go with, let's say, object detection segmentation, there is hardly any confidence that we are giving in our results. So we had some kind of a small discussion paper, but definitely I'm very much interested. In fact, even the pasture dieback, I have a feeling, I've not read it, but I have a feeling it's more of a indices problem than a computer vision problem.
It is true. It is true. It is like a retrieval problem. Any kind of
Yes,
retrieval problem is like index problem.
So I will have a look, but definitely do share that. I will have a discussion. I'll think about it.
Have you read Pablo Zarco's paper by any chance, or
On which
Arco Lucier's groups? Mainly Pablo's retrieval. So if you Google hyperspectral retrievals or retrieval kind of work, then you will understand all that Pablo mainly does, has been doing is all index kind of work. From computer science perspective, they're all index kind of work, but he calls them retrievals because it is more applied. And but he has been publishing those things for years.
Okay.
His
From
name is
which
Pablo.
university?
I think he came here, University of Melbourne. Now went back to Spain.
Okay.
He has published a lot in UAV hyperspectral space, and is the pioneer in UAV hyperspectral.
Okay.
Yeah. So mainly he has been working on LAI retrieval and all those sort of things, canonical content. And I have been following his work for long. We have also been co-working in some areas. So, but yes, it's the thing with the retrieval is you can always bring on so many different kind of things, and some things slightly better, Similar to
Mhm.
classification, the percentage accuracy improvement, you can have R squares improve a little more, little more, little more, and you change the data sets. Then it's again gone back to
Yes, square one.
square one. So what is the point? So this is the thing with this kind of, and the source data sets are not released. The approaches I find with Pablos are, they're very cumbersome. They're not replicatable. So first of all, the way he writes is not explainable. Many times when I was reading as a student, it was not completely understood those. Slowly I understood more, but yeah, many of the times all these things are, papers are there, but you can't replicate them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
All
I
right,
think it's
Ujjwal,
a,
thanks. Thank
yeah,
you so
it's a good
much.
chat. Thanks.
Sure.
I'll keep you posted on the progress,
Sure.
and maybe once we have made some progress, we'll schedule another call to discuss the results and see what next steps could be done.
Sure. Sure.
And if you can share the papers on the explainable part, the Pablo's papers, if you're
Sure.
referring, that also would be good enough.
Yeah, he hasn't worked on explainability, but I have the one that I have worked on,
Equations that you were
that
saying.
the equations one. I'm 100% sure it will be the way we should go for explainability, but I don't have those large. You have been working with data fusion for some time, so you might know some data sets or some large data sets maybe we can use, but we need something which has ranges, not classification, some ranges, and we can then use that kind of model, and we can also modify the model as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have a look in that direction, definitely.
Sure. All right,
Thank you.
Ujjwal, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.